know who she thinks she is, but I do think it might be someone with real power, and it shouldn't be. She wanted her own Hail to the Chief song, and it happened. It's called Fanfare for the First Lady. It's a terrible song. Listen to a little bit of this. The point is her ego. Her ego is at it.
What occurs when the master of political imagery finally loses her focus? Imagine Hillary Clinton losing her composure as Megyn Kelly uncovers secrets hidden deep within an already crowded history. This has moved beyond standard politics. It's a high-speed collision that demands your full attention. Truths are emerging, tempers are rising, and massive reputations are clashing. If you assumed the controversies were over, you were wrong. This is the next chapter. Don't go anywhere, because Clinton's frustration has officially turned into must-watch television.
A very weird and I think shitty marriage. I don't think she has a husband who is in love with her or faithful to her, and I think I can't really blame him because she seems to have accepted this behavior since the inception of their marriage. And so past his prologue, you're going to get what you tolerate. You know, what you permit, you promote. She spent all of her daughter's upbringing away, at work, at the law firm, in the White House, running for office. And Chelsea Clinton is not a nice person.
Hillary has always built herself up like a political fortress. She utilized thick walls, locked entrances, and a surrounding moat filled with practiced excuses. For decades, she navigated through various scandals as if the standard rules of accountability didn't apply to her. Digital mishaps were framed as minor technicalities, and questionable associations were dismissed as nothing more than harmless networking efforts.
Happening in America. You can feel it. Something we've worked for and dreamed of for a long time. Donald Trump fell asleep at his own trial, and when he woke up, he made his own kind of history. The first person to run for president with 34 felony convictions.
Before we dive deeper, hit that like button and subscribe because you won't want to miss our next update. Her entire public persona was shielded by layers of strategic PR, as if she truly believed the public would stop asking difficult questions. Spoiler alert, they didn't. Then came Megyn Kelly, acting like a precision laser aimed directly at the most hidden aspects of Hillary's career. Kelly doesn't offer soft inquiries. She delivers hard-hitting facts, and on this day, she was fully prepared.
Classified appendix to Durham's report from May of 2023, let's see, reveals strong evidence that the FBI covered up a plot by the Hillary Clinton campaign to amplify ties between Trump and Russia. That the FBI covered up the plot. This is the new piece of it that's being dropped today, because we knew Hillary did it. And Fox Digital had reported earlier this week that we were going to see this annex, and it was going to suggest the FBI knew that she was going to do it and then covered it up. And that's where we're going now with this, that Kash Patel said he found the Durham appendix and thousands of other documents inside a burn bag in a secret room at FBI headquarters.
Hillary was locked into her standard performance. She offered rehearsed smiles and talking points that were polished to perfection. Then Megyn Kelly arrived with the actual receipts. That moment turned into pure television gold. You could practically hear the gears of Hillary's political armor grinding and failing as the first visible cracks began to emerge under Kelly's pressure.
Different ball game today than it was even 4 years ago, never mind 8 or 10 years ago when she was doing all this. And back to Hillary, you know, the whole, she has a hat she's tweeted herself out wearing, but her emails. She's tried to turn it into this ridiculous joke, like, oh, but the moon landing, like you nutcases who are still railing about this made up scandal, this thing that, you know, you've used to try to unfairly tar me. She did need to distract from that email scandal.
This wasn't just a slight critique. Megyn Kelly tore through the layers of spin like a bandage being ripped away. What was revealed underneath was quite revealing. Long-held secrets began to surface, and Hillary's professional mask collapsed faster than a house of cards in a storm. It was like watching a meticulously built tower being toppled by an interviewer who simply refused to back down.
Should be in jail. Literally, Hillary Clinton should be behind bars. And so should the people who worked for her who did this. This is so blatantly corrupt. She wanted to distract from her email scandal. She cooked up a plan to accuse Trump of being a Russian agent in order to distract from her own legitimate scandal. She made up a scandal about Trump being a Russian asset.
Initially, Hillary went straight to her usual strategy: deflect the issue, dismiss the point, and maneuver around the question like a lawyer in a high-stakes drama. But Megyn Kelly wasn't there to be a friendly host. She acted as an investigator and a dismantling force. Every fact Kelly presented landed with a heavy impact. Hillary didn't just lose her patience. She had a total collapse. The politician who once claimed to be battle-tested seemed to lose control under the intense studio lighting. Her tone sharpened, and her face showed visible frustration. Suddenly, she appeared less like a seasoned stateswoman and more like a complex system failing in real time. If you looked closely, you could see the sparks of anger. The breakdown was remarkable to witness. Think of a pressure cooker left on high heat too long, steam escaping in every direction until the lid finally rattles. This wasn't over trivial matters. Megyn Kelly was discussing the murky business deals that have shadowed Hillary's career for years. These are the unusual alliances that make people wonder if her political calendar was set by an ethics committee or an underground club. These are the details Kelly used to show how she managed to get away with it for so long.
Speaking of Hillary, her op-ed, which is really pretty spectacular in the New York Times. First of all, my team just showed me this. Have you seen the cover for her new book? It's something lost, something gained. Gained is with a Freudian slip. And I like the amount of retouching on this face I haven't seen since, Joan Rivers had her 15th surgery. God love Joan. I don't know what she's trying to be with this soft focus. My executive producer, Steve Krakauer, is like, she looks nothing like.
Megyn Kelly laid out the facts like a prosecutor building a case, leaving Hillary with nowhere to hide. Suddenly, all those rehearsed sound bites felt worn out. Every attempt to pivot looked forced, like a comedian bombing on stage and desperately changing the subject. And the angrier she got, the more entertaining it became. Usually, when most people get called out, they either defend themselves calmly or step back and regroup. Hillary doesn't do that. She goes full supernova. Her move wasn't to defuse the bomb. It was to burn the whole building down. She fired off accusations and excuses that failed to land. As she struggled, Megyn Kelly stayed calm, delivering hit after hit while Hillary's meltdown climbed to cartoon levels. Then came the public reaction. People watching at home were glued to their screens like it was a season finale. Social media exploded within minutes. Memes and clips spread everywhere. One moment she was the untouchable political machine. The next she was trending for all the wrong reasons.
I think really is just sort of getting along based on the family name at this point. And so now she's got a daughter who I guess married a rich guy but is struggling in her own right. Hillary's in a loveless marriage. She probably doesn't have a lot of real friends, just people who are glommers. And so she absolutely does have to write a fifth memoir and go on MSNBC and be told that she's amazing and that she met.
The irony is quite striking. Hillary spent her entire career trying to control the narrative. Yet, the harder she fought for control against Megyn Kelly, the faster it slipped through her fingers. It was like trying to hold water in a clenched fist. By the end, Megyn Kelly was standing tall, almost glowing with victory, while Hillary looked like the star of a viral blooper reel. But this wasn't just one embarrassing meltdown. The secrets Kelly brought to light didn't stay buried. They had legs. They raised fresh questions about her entire legacy and reopened old wounds she hoped the public had forgotten. It felt like a slow-moving spotlight forcing the main character to squirm in full view. Hillary's outburst was the sound of decades of spin finally crashing into reality. When it was over, she wasn't just embarrassed. She was politically gutted. What remained was the image of a woman who, despite all her experience, couldn't withstand one relentless round of truth from Megyn Kelly. Kelly didn't just win the exchange. She tore down a myth and delivered a television moment so revealing it cemented itself in political infamy.
Of going up to her and sitting down next to her, taking her in my arms and saying, "Look at me, listen to me. You will survive. You will have a good family of your own and 3 children. And as hard as it might be to imagine, your daughter will grow up and become the President of the United States. I am as sure of this as anything I have ever known. America is the greatest country in the world."
Hillary Clinton didn't just blow up once and back off. She went into a multi-stage eruption like a volcano that refuses to stop spewing ash. What began as a small crack in her composure quickly turned into a full-on historic performance. And Megyn Kelly stood there like a seasoned guide, calmly pointing out every plume of smoke with a knowing smile. The first wave of revelations hit Hillary's infamous dealings, the backroom arrangements that have trailed her name for decades. Megyn laid it out with sharp precision, showing how Clinton's career has long been tangled in coincidences that always favored her inner circle. She detailed timelines, connections, and financial trails ignored for years. Suddenly, Hillary's polished golden narrative looked more like a crooked flowchart. Hillary's reaction to Megyn Kelly was priceless. She tried on that familiar half-smile meant to signal she wasn't bothered. But it didn't stick this time.
Clinton, because her mother Hillary, for some reason, thought it would be moving, a good idea, a good PR move for her to on camera read the acceptance speech she was going to give in 2016, the night she never was able to let down the balloons and the fireworks. And it's part of a masterclass, I guess, educational video on the topic of resilience. And here's a little soundbite.
The expression she made toward Megyn Kelly wasn't her usual confident look. It looked more like she was holding in a sneeze at a funeral. Her eyes darted, her shoulders stiffened, and for a brief moment, you could see the realization that her usual deflection routine wasn't going to work here. Megyn wasn't buying it, and neither was the audience. So Hillary escalated. She raised her voice and wagged her finger. She even reached for the worn-out playbook, blaming her critics for being obsessed. It was the political equivalent of yelling about a fire while standing in the middle of the flames. Every outburst made her look more rattled, and every calm response from Megyn made the contrast sharper. That's the real power of this clash. Megyn Kelly doesn't need theatrics. She simply shifted gears, dragging the spotlight onto Hillary's long, complicated relationship with power. Stories of aides, insiders, and former allies turned enemies suddenly came flooding back into the conversation.
Is it over? Is she done? I'm so uncomfortable.
I don't know about you, but that speech makes me, I relive that same night that Trump got elected, man. It makes me feel so good when I hear that.
I'm, the kids say cringe. It's very cringy, the whole thing. And why, of all time, right, like for 4 years and beyond, we were always saying she's like a nice woman. She never expresses emotion.
It was like Megyn opened a closet, and instead of one skeleton falling out, an entire marching band came tumbling through. Every detail was a reminder that Hillary's career wasn't built on warm hugs. It was built on ladders climbed over other people's backs. Hillary hated every second. She squirmed, she interrupted, and she rolled her eyes, anything to claw back control. But control had already left the building. The more she tried to downplay the accusations, the clearer it became that Megyn had hit a nerve. She resorted to framing the questions as unfair or part of some grand vendetta. Here's the problem. When Megyn Kelly calmly lays out your biggest controversies, playing the victim doesn't land. Instead, it made Hillary look like a sore loser in a game she thought she had already won. Megyn wasn't buying it. She stayed focused and kept dismantling Hillary's carefully constructed image, one brick at a time.
The law, with that homebrew server that had been accessed by foreign agents, she compromised national intelligence information. She did things she would never have allowed anybody at the State Department to do under her. And that leaves me back to Schellenberger here. This is page 4 of his report. He writes as follows: the Russian reports, again, that the Dutch spied on, that we got our hands on, also claimed, and listen to this. I mean, you probably already know this stuff, Glenn, but claimed that Attorney General Loretta Lynch, okay, this is back in 2016, people, remember, Obama's president. Loretta Lynch is his Attorney General. And her DOJ/FBI are investigating the Hillary Clinton email scam.
The funniest part was that Hillary couldn't stop herself from reacting to every jab from Megyn Kelly. If she had just stayed quiet and answered with cold composure, she might have salvaged some dignity. But she didn't. She took every single bait. It was like watching a cat chase a laser until it collapses from exhaustion. The audience loved it. Every outburst became a viral clip. Every awkward expression turned into a meme. People weren't just laughing at the secrets. They were laughing at the spectacle of a seasoned politician unraveling in prime time. What really sealed the humiliation was how Megyn tied it all together. She didn't expose random incidents. She revealed a pattern. By the end, Hillary wasn't debating individual points anymore. She was drowning under the weight of an entire narrative that made her look like a walking cautionary tale. And that's when the final explosion hit. Hillary's mask slipped completely, leaving nothing but raw, unfiltered anger toward Megyn Kelly.
Clinton decided to drop an op-ed in the New York Times today that's entitled, "How much dumber will this get?" And she uses Signalgate and the messaging by Pete Hegseth and Mike Wallace and JD Vance and Tulsi and others on there as the jumping off point to talk about how dumb the Trump administration is. Some highlights. She calls the Trump administration hypocritical, dangerous, and dumb over this story. "It's not the hypocrisy that bothers me, it's the stupidity."
She leaned forward and snapped back at Megyn Kelly with venom, unleashing a tirade that could peel paint off the walls. But instead of intimidating Megyn, it only proved the point. Here was a woman so buried in her own scandals that even the slightest hint of truth sent her spiraling. This wasn't strength. It was pure desperation. Megyn Kelly, meanwhile, barely blinked. She let Hillary rant and roar. And then calmly, she delivered one final jab that wrapped the entire spectacle into a perfect mic drop moment. No yelling, no theatrics, just a clean strike that left Hillary looking like she'd been knocked out. The fallout was instant. Hillary walked in hoping to control the narrative. But instead, she handed her critics the perfect gift: live footage of herself imploding. Megyn Kelly didn't just expose dirty secrets. She ripped away the illusion of control Hillary had clung to for decades. By the time the dust settled, her team was scrambling to find something that resembled dignity.
Though, like the air toucher, the retoucher deserves a huge raise. This is a much more soft, welcoming, friendly, I suppose, Hillary. Although again, to self-awareness, something lost, huh? I wonder what that was. Really, right. You know, the woman who wrote a book called What Happened, like marveling over all the external forces that could have caused her loss in a presidential election that was handed to her on a silver platter. And then you get into this op-ed, which again is just remarkable for what's in there. She has a paragraph in there about all the prep she...
You can't polish a train wreck. The footage was everywhere. Hillary unraveling while Megyn Kelly calmly sliced through her defenses like a hot knife through butter. It was the kind of viral moment no PR statement could ever erase. What made it even funnier was the public reaction. For years, people were told Hillary was an untouchable titan, always 5 moves ahead. And there she was, flailing on live TV against Megyn. Memes turned her into a human volcano. Late-night comedians sharpened their knives. Social media transformed her meltdown into a digital roast that refused to die. And the real genius wasn't in shouting her down. It was in Megyn letting Hillary do all the work herself. The bigger picture was brutal. This wasn't just one bad night. It was a reminder of why she's never fully escaped the baggage of her past. It wasn't just Megyn exposing her. It was history refusing to stay buried.
They banked on the intel agencies working with her to perpetuate this lie, and it appears they were only too happy to assist. That's what this scandal's about. Pieces of it we knew. New pieces are coming in by the day thanks to these declassifications. And it's downright shocking. Do not believe that there's no there there. The people who are saying that are wrong. They're wrong. What just broke today, like moments before it came to air, we're still getting our arms around it, was obviously provided to Michael Schellenberger before 2 minutes ago.
The irony couldn't be clearer. Hillary's entire career was built on controlling the narrative. Yet, the harder she tried to steer this moment with Megyn Kelly, the faster it slipped through her fingers. That explosion didn't show resilience. It looked like someone cracking under the weight of their own secrets. By the end, the message was undeniable. Hillary Clinton didn't just lose her temper. She lost the last shred of her untouchable image. Megyn Kelly didn't just uncover dirty secrets. She revealed a deeper truth. Behind all the polish, Hillary was never as bulletproof as she wanted the world to believe. And that realization is the kind of truth bomb that lingers long after the cameras stop rolling.